So one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about, so people had asked for this subject, there's a lot of stuff you have to do. And as we start going into spring, things are going to start getting busier. And wanted to just have an open discussion about how do you manage your day to be productive, right? How is it that you set up your day? What tools do you use? Just wanted some people to share, what their process is. What is it that you do to make sure that you stay on top of stuff and, you don't forget anything. So who wants to start?
I can start.
I know G does some pretty awesome stuff. So why don't you start with?
I think for me was, until about 4 years ago, we had someone on the team that was like basically their main job was like scheduling phone calls with leads and stuff and avoiding all the phone tag. So started using Calendly, which I know a lot of people are familiar with now. It's basically free, links to your calendar. You send people a link and they plug it. You set some parameters, of course, as long as you block off times that you need for other things. Like we have maybe some new contract blocks or realtor marketing blocks, things like that people can't schedule over that. Then, they kind of feel like they have free reign on your calendar and I don't have to deal with the back and forth of trying to schedule something. So that's really helpful. I use Outlook and, alarms in Outlook if anything's important for scheduling everything. I don't use Salesforce tasks. I mean, I use them, but it's not, sometimes there's some days with my realtor marketing days that I may have 60 tasks in there and it's easy to miss the important stuff. So I don't use that for like time sensitive things. I use Outlook for that and the alarms. Use a lot of delayed delivery. I know people may or may not be familiar with that. So in Outlook, when you send an email, if you go to options, I think you can do something called delay delivery. So, I think training your clients and realtors when you want to respond to them is going to buy you some mental sanity down the road. And so if you start replying to emails at 10 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning, then you start to train these partners or clients that you're going to be basically available all the time. And you will get a frustrated client or realtor when you don't reply to an email at 10 o'clock because you're like, asleep or whatever it may be. So I think just setting those boundaries has helped. So that's kind of I think the main things I can think of.
That's awesome. Who else has some good stuff? Ryan?
No, I was just laughing because I was telling Chris, I was like, I just basically do that.
You just basically do it just every time.
No, I mean, don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to, right? No, I mean, I think just to expand on what, I think you've talked about this in the past, like just being really diligent with your Outlook calendar has really helped me. I think another thing that has helped me a lot is like at the end of the day, kind of like rehashing the day and going over what you have to do the next day just allows you to get your mind in this place where you know what you have to do. You can start to prioritize almost the night before. So you're not waking up and being like a prisoner to your phone and you're like, okay, what's next, right? So I think just Outlook calendar is big. I use tasks probably a little bit more than G does. I'm big on just, realtor check-ins and stuff like that task wise. But I think with Calendly is amazing. It's helped me, whether or not you have 1 lead a week or 20 leads a week, it just gives the client, a lot more opportunity and then you don't have to do the back and forth. So yeah. Kind of.
And I actually loved what you talked about of at the end of the day, you do kind of a mental review of the day and kind of prep for the next day. I think that's a step a lot of people miss. They get to 5 o'clock, 5:30, wherever it is, I got to run, pick up kids or I got this going on. And they don't really, doesn't require a lot of time, but you should take 10 minutes at the end of the day just to review the day, right?
Yeah.
What would you have done differently? What went well? What do you want to repeat? Mentally, it's huge. And also reviewing what you have for tomorrow, right? Your mind's an amazing thing. And if you feed that, depending what you feed it, right? As you sleep at night, you'll be surprised how your mind will go to work to coming up with a plan of addressing those things.
Well, it's funny, like, I think when you say that, Dean, because for me, I've started, like, my end of the day recap happens at like the very end of the night. I'll start journaling just about that day. And I started this week after G had sent out one of the Darren Hardys about like brain dumping. And so not only am I prepping for the day, I like journaled, and it almost made me sleep better because I don't have those things racing. It's crazy to think about. Sorry, go off topic here, but yeah, I mean,
it's perfect. Yeah, it's almost like you move it from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind, letting your subconscious mind go deal with it.
Right. You put it on a sheet of paper and then you're ready to rock for the next day, kind of thing. And you set your intentions for the morning too. Like, I'm going to wake up at 6 and do my morning routine, the whole thing. So yeah, it's helped.
That's awesome. Anybody else have some tips for time management and that type of thing?
I would just say also, keep track of when you get really busy. If you see some opportunities to block off some time, like I've noticed, this year, most of last year, like 3 o'clock rolls around on a Friday, and like we start getting bombarded with people that are like, hey, can we see numbers on this house? Hey, I want to up my pre-approval because we're going to look at this house. And so I just went ahead and blocked it off, because in the past I would just, I'd have scheduled calls or Zooms, or when I used to go to closings or whatever. And I'd get back at like Friday at 5 at the office and have like a whole day's worth of emails to get through. And I was like, I don't want to live like that anymore. So I closed it off from 3 to 5:30. There's nothing available on Calendly, so no one can schedule, but it's called my Friday rush pre-approval or TCA time. And I know that, I'm going to be busy doing things like that for the people that call today that are like, hey, we've never spoken, but we want to buy a house this weekend, right? Then I have some time that I can help them already. And if it ever were to happen, it hasn't yet, that we're not busy, then I'll be gladly going out to take my kids, pick them up from school or whatever. Like, I don't mind having to leave early on a Friday for once in 20 years, but hasn't happened yet.
Well, and I think one of the things that you mentioned that you do from time management is blocking time on your calendar. It's just crucial, thinking of all the things you need to do and just blocking time out to do the things need to happen. Because otherwise you're at the mercy of doing things that are urgent but not important. And it feels like you're always putting out fires, or you're always just responding to whatever the hottest topic is. So that's a great tip. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? If not, we'll...
Dean, I was going to say something similar to that. Because, sometimes when people are like, I'll get an email like, hey, can you review these loan options like now? And I used to be like, sure. And then I would just keep happening throughout the day. And then I would never get to like a pre-approval, and stuff would get pushed back. So, I mean, if you get a new lead in this kind of market, you kind of like have to jump on it, but you need to say no a decent amount of time so you can stick to your schedule and not always go to someone else's, be at the mercy of someone else's schedule, like you said. So saying no sometimes or not right now.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Is it something where your response isn't necessarily no, but is it, hey, I'm busy at the moment.
Yeah.
I got your email, but I will get you this updated by tomorrow morning or by the end of the day today. It's not going to be done in 30 minutes.
Or it's like, it's like, I'm busy right now, or I have to do something. Can we do later, or can we do tomorrow morning? Like, it's not like, sure, I'll drop what I'm doing for you. I used to do that all the time, and it was just like, I hated it, but I didn't want to like upset the client, or, I wanted to like impress them, I guess. But then I was like pissing myself off and making myself angry. So
People
and
appreciate it if you
afraid to
reply.
do it. And then now it's like, no one, it's the same. No one cares. mean,
Right. As long as you
Only-
reply, right? As long as
Yeah,
they
yeah.
saw that you replied and you're just like, hey, I saw this. It's on my radar. I'll get to it.
the only thing I'll drop
And
what
they're
I'm
like, okay,
doing,
cool.
yeah, the only thing I'll drop what I'm doing for right now is like a new lead, because it's gotta be first right now, I think, so.
Yeah, but, and you just got to manage the expectations of folks.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you do that, you won't have upset clients or realtors. You don't have to do it now. And most people understand that if they send you something, you might actually be doing something else at the time. So you just have to set clear expectations of when you're going to address that, but be responsive. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about the 10 characteristics of a good salesperson. And I won't have anybody say I have that quality or I don't have that quality. You can kind of make your own assessments if if these are qualities you have or not. But I think one of the first qualities is being delightful. I think you have to, you have to have what I mean by that is you have to have a well put together appearance. You have to have a very inviting demeanor. You have to be likable, right? People make their decision whether or not they like you pretty quickly. So be a nice person. Be somebody that people want to be around, right? Good salespeople are enthusiastic, right? If you're not excited about what you're doing, it's unrealistic to think that they're going to be excited about what you're doing. There's a saying we had a long time ago: if you will set yourself on fire, people will come around for miles around to watch you burn, right? So be enthusiastic about what you're doing. Analytical, right? They want to know that you're prepared. They want to know that you understand the numbers, that you understand the mechanics behind what you're doing. Resilient, right? You're going to have good months, you're going to have bad months, right? Good salespeople are resilient, right? They push through when things are tough. They rethink their game plan. They don't get discouraged. Good salespeople are attentive, right? Customers got different needs, and they're all different, right? You got to actively listen to their pain points. What might be important to one buyer might not be that important to the next buyer, right? So you can't treat everyone like they're exactly the same, right? Everybody's an individual. You need to be thorough, right? You need to be knowledgeable about what you're talking about, right? Be more reputable in the eyes of your customers. Empathetic. This is probably the biggest one that people miss. You actually have to connect to your customers' emotions. Buying a home is a very emotional thing. If they're not very emotional about buying a home, they may not appear that way, but deep down inside they are. People get very emotionally attached to the home that they're buying. You know, you've heard a lot of times people talk about how they love their house, right? Love's an emotion. So be empathetic to the emotions of your clients. Confident, right? You need to be confident. You got to be confident in your product. You got to be confident in the company you represent. And you got to be confident in yourself and your abilities. And it's easy if you've had a lot of successes, but if you're relatively new and you haven't had a lot of those successes, you've heard the saying, fake it till you make it. You're going to have to at least find something that you can be confident about. Adaptable. Sales is a very volatile profession. And you have to be adaptable to those changes, right? There's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days, right? So you have to manage, you have to pivot your approach and manage your time and do that type of thing. And then last, good salespeople are committed, right? What is it you're committed to? What is it you're committed to doing? There's a saying that I use that inside of commitment, the miraculous will happen, right? Commitment to a relationship, commitment to a task, commitment to a goal. Inside of commitment, the miraculous will happen. And so really ask yourself, what are you committed to doing, right? So those are the 10 qualities I see in a good salespeople. So I thought I'd share that with you. And then I'd like to kind of wrap up with a few success stories. I know Christine's not on the call. She's actually has a meeting she's been trying to get for 2 months, and it was kind of a high priority meeting, so I totally understand. But she has had some great successes. I'm gonna let her share those next week, but she did some things yesterday that were pretty amazing. So who else had some successes this week that they want to share? I know Matt had one. Matt, you want to share your success based on Casey's guidance?
Oh, I was thinking about another one, but yeah, I guess I had two. I mean, Casey met with us and basically gave us gold. And I put that to use yesterday, and I just reached out to a handful of people. I just went all in and went for some high profile agents, and actually got 2 meetings with them just based on what Casey had explained to us what he was doing. And it just seemed easy and effortless. I sent the call to Blake. I sent the call to you too, Dean, of one of them. So it just felt too easy. So anybody that was in that meeting, I would encourage you to use that. So it was very, very powerful. I had another success this week too. I had a client from Italy. This process has been very stressful for them because they're 8 hours ahead. But we finally got them under contract. We beat out an all cash offer and 2 offers that were higher than ours, just because of kind of like our feel sorry for us story that we gave the agent. So she passed that along to the buyer or to the sellers, and that eventually won the offer. So that was huge. They're ecstatic.
Nice. Everybody wants to know those nuggets that Casey shared. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I just want to kind of build off what Matt said after our meeting with Casey. I locked a meeting with a high profile realtor in Florida, and then she recommended another high profile agent here in Denver, and I gave her a call, and using some of Casey's wisdom, we're getting a meeting set up here in the next week and a half to 2 weeks. So 2 big high profile agents just like that.
Nice. One more. Who else had a great success for the week?
I have one. So one of my new realtor partners in Colorado Springs had a really good meeting with him this past week. And one of the new leads I had from this week also happened to be looking in Colorado Springs. So I had actually able to refer them, or will be referring them back to this new realtor partner. And it just kind of feels good to already kind of be building that partnership with them and already be able to provide them with a lead and a borrower, and hopefully it'll turn out really well. I already have like her credit and everything pulled and just waiting on docs. So looking forward to that and just being able to grow with them, because they're also kind of a high producing agent. So just felt really good.
Well, thanks guys for joining the call today. Make the rest of the day an amazing day. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you all next week.